We are back with Just Scylla. If you watched the last episode, I hope you enjoyed it. You got to know a little bit about me and my significant other, who we live together. We've made the decision that we want our life to work together. It is not always easy as any relationship, but it's even more difficult when you are of different races. He's white, I am black, and that's just the beginning of many differences. Welcome, my significant other,
Hello.
Donald Broughton.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
So what would you say are some of the differences between us?
Well, there's obvious, but beyond the obvious, we're also just born on different continents, in different countries, in different cultures, really literally worlds away from each other to start. And one of the fun things about us and getting to know each other, our relationship as it's grown, is figuring out that despite, I mean, let's be honest. When you and I walk into a place, they're like, okay, bald white guy, bald preppy white guy, stunningly beautiful black girl. It's not by ourselves when we walk into places. People might note us, but when we walk in together, there's no way to not notice us.
Yeah, people always wonder how we got together.
Right.
And we talked about that in the last episode.
Right.
But it's not always great. It's not, we've had a couple of experiences here in St. Louis at the ball game.
Oh, yeah. We've experienced racism.
Yes. I've experienced racism.
Okay, well,
which we argue about the terminology. I say you can't experience racism because you are of the race that perceives, many in it perceive themselves as superior. Those who are racist, not everybody.
Yeah, but there are...
So people are prejudiced against you. They are bigoted against you. But I think racism cannot be black towards white.
Okay, well, it's semantics. The bottom line is that there are white women, particularly older white women, and black men, particularly older black men, who don't make any bones about expressing their disapproval. Yes,
and older black women, I would say maybe 70 and up, have had those experiences where...
but black women, my experience with black women has been refreshing. We experienced this in La Jolla a couple of months ago. We walked into a store, and we were far enough apart that it wasn't obvious we were together initially. And the African-American woman clerk that was working in the store, she was polite, she was pleasant to me, but it was very formal. Mm-hmm. And then you walked in, and she was very friendly and bubbly towards you, and then whatever it was, within the first couple of minutes, she realized we were together, and her attitude with me, her approach towards me went from polite and professional, distant, to, oh, okay. And she was, from that point on until we left, very friendly. It was a subtlety I would have never picked up on before.
And you are more aware of it. I mean, I think when we're in an environment with black people, you feel the discomfort, you feel judged, and you try really hard to make everybody know that you're cool, you're just fine.
Yeah, well, they should be. They should be as well. And there are places we've gone, Miami, we're not only not the minority that gets noticed, everybody's interracial there.
Yeah, yes.
And it's all different kinds of mixes, and actually white might be the exception. And New York, they don't necessarily notice. But in the Midwest, we are,
I find myself explaining all the time how we met and trying to justify why we are together, why we belong together. Mm-hmm. But those are questions I had the first year of our relationship, because to be able to be in a relationship with you requires a self-awareness and strength, because it comes with a lot of judgment, because economically you were very set. You're not poor by any means. So there's that aspect.
But I was at one point in my life.
Yes, you were, and I think that's something that connects us. But there are all these dynamics that made people wonder why we ended up together.
Uh-huh.
And I remember being called a gold digger at the ball game. Remember that?
Well, see, I wasn't aware of that until later.
I literally stopped
Yeah.
and wanted to respond. And it was two black men about my age, and they literally whispered gold digger, one of them. And I stopped in my tracks.
But again, there's that dynamic. When I've experienced it, it's been Caucasian women, and where you experienced it, and you and I both experienced it, it's the other race of the other sex.
Yes.
I mean, my Caucasian male friends are like, high five. She's smoking hot, and she's fun, and she's witty, and I totally get it. And your friends, your black female friends, are like, okay, yeah. But
yeah, I think the first time they're like, hey, she's hit the jackpot, which pisses me off. It's like, guys,
Well,
but at the
there's
same time.
so much more that we even didn't appreciate.
No.
We were both oldest children. We both really had fathers who had great sense in their careers and what they were doing, and then crashed and burned, essentially. Mm-hmm. And at around the age of 17, we both were forced to go out on our own and discover the world. And stake our claim somewhere in a place other than where we grew up.
And we've had our own stuff, within our close families and friends. And what I always say about that
which almost all couples do.
Yeah, what I would say about that is I think they, on my side, they definitely wanted to make sure that I wasn't being used.
And vice versa.
Which is so crazy because I'm in my freaking 40s.
Yeah. Well,
if I want to be used, I'll be used. But that's not the point. Right. I think
people who love you and are very, very close, they're protective, and that's as well as we're protective of them.
And they've seen me at my lowest, and they just want to make sure that I am being well taken care of.
Right.
But I think the big thing is, especially in this political climate, I've never been more aware of our racial differences as I am in this time in America. I'm very, very aware of it.
Well, the crazy part about it is and this is something, I get asked this, do you guys ever talk about race? I'm like, all the time. And never. Because 99% of what you and I are actually dealing with on a daily basis are the same things that any and every couple deals with. But we're very conscious of it. It's the elephant in the room, often put there by other people.
Yes.
And
that's the pressure. I think the biggest pressure in our relationship is not us. We've got our own relationship stuff that we work through. It's the pressure because I think everybody wants to be loved, accepted. You don't have to worry about those things to belong. And so making a decision to be in each other's lives sometimes means giving up friendships because somebody said the wrong thing or
can't see past.
Yeah,
and let's face it, the United States, America has some real issues that still need to be resolved. But when you put it in context, we've watched a couple of movies, whether it was The Green Book or what's the one where the interracial marriage that was in Virginia, it's illegal.
Mm-hmm.
Loving, that's right. 50 years ago, it was illegal in many states for this. And that's certainly not the case in any way, shape, or form. But it's still, in many places, unconventional.
But I do find that you feel more comfortable around our new circle of friends because they don't judge us in that way.
Or they appreciate it.
That's so true.
Let's think about it. And there's this. It's also where we've tested the depths of some of our friendships. We've tested the depths of some of our relationships. Are you willing continue to. Are you, as you like to say, what's the term you use? Ride or die? Are you a ride or die or not?
Yes.
And there's a few cases in your life and a few cases in my life where we've discovered what we thought were ride or dies are really actually not.
No.
And the other is we've also...
Because it's very different to say I'm friends with a Black person, and it's very different to say, oh my God, this Black person is now part of our inner circle, part of our family, part of all of that. That's a whole different feeling, which we hear people say all the time, I have a Black friend, I have a Black friend. But then what happens if you have a Black family member? Or if your best friend is dating a Black girl, do you invite them over? I mean, there are all these things that we are exploring and discovering.
Right, exactly. And you know, it's funny, and I've learned subtleties that I was unaware of. You know, and you challenged me, you know, how many Black friends do you have? And I'm like, one of my best friends in college was Black. And you're like, oh yeah, well, who is it? And I'm like, oh, you know, and Olakano.
Don't say his name. What is his name again?
Olakan Ogun Toyamba.
Okay, so you what? Say that again.
Olakan Ogun Toyamba.
So you have a Nigerian friend, baby, and I could swear that's probably not how you pronounce it.
I insisted that he teach me how to properly say his name because everyone just called him Lakan because we were good friends and it was important. He's a journalist, a writer, but then you pointed out, oh, well, he's African. I'm like, so?
Yeah.
And to me, that wasn't, you know.
Yeah, because I wanted to know, you know, in America, how many Black friends did you have? Because there were so many things that I think you were open-minded to, but I had to let you know that those were not politically correct things to say or to do.
Yeah, but if you look at all the people I've hired over the years in my professional career, they're of every single race and male and female. It's not, you know, without even attending to, I was looking for somebody who could actually do the job. And just by chance, that ended up being more diverse than anybody would ever expect it to be. It's actually fewer white males than demographically would have been expected in a sample size.
One of the things that truly attracted me to you was the fact that in any situation, if we go to an African home and people were eating with their hands, you rolled up your sleeve, you ate out with your hands. You danced to African music, you danced to rap music. You're that guy.
Oh yeah, and I also played the cello.
And my family and friends get a kick out of seeing you just like roll in and just be a part of everything. Not everybody is that way.
Well, but I am, and so are you. As we talked in the last episode, I pushed you into situations that were very unconventional for you, and you thrived. Not only survived, but really did swim, really did thrive in it.
What has been the hardest thing about dating me, a Black woman?
The hardest thing is not you being Black. The hardest thing is that you have an extraordinarily strong personality, and so do I, and we're both fighting for control in all areas.
I'm not fighting for control.
Yeah, you are. That's a lie. They go,
It's hard. You know, it's hard for a strong Black woman to be vulnerable.
But it's a strong woman, period, to be vulnerable. It's hard for anyone, man or woman, Black or white, to be vulnerable, strong or weak to be vulnerable, but it's necessary in order to make relationships grow. So
if you had to say one thing to people who were just starting out in an interracial relationship or considering one.
Welcome to the club. You're now part of a clique. And you know that.
Oh my God.
That we have a list of people who we didn't know or weren't friends with, but immediately then had something in common, and we're now part of that club. And that is do the right thing. Is this the right person? Focus on the same things that all people in all relationships should focus on, and ignore the rest, because that's what it will be at times challenging. But also times some of the reward too. It is a little exotic, erotic.
And I mean, we do go through our own things in the house where I'm like, no, you can't say that. No, you can't do that. You've gotten used to my different hairstyles, for example. You've learned not to say certain things, which I really appreciate. You've become more sensitive to my culture.
Oh, but not because I was insensitive before, but because I just didn't
No.
I just didn't have an experience base. I didn't realize that there were black girl hair issues.
Yes, they
It's
are.
just-
A lot of them. I mean, I might have long hair tomorrow.
I was blind. I was just unaware. It wasn't intentional. It was just I hadn't tasted that food before, and or tasted that fruit before, so I just didn't know.
Oh, the forbidden fruit.
And there's a little bit of that going on.
Well, baby, thank you so much for coming on and talking
My
and being
pleasure.
so open about it. Thank you so much for joining me for episode 8. Hopefully you've gotten to know me a little better. You've gotten to know my partner a little better. And we are wrapping up episode 8. See you for episode 9.